You've been brainwashed into thinking certain ideas about who we are. They're not true. The first myth is we humans are driven by material desires. So what do we want? We want a lot of money. Okay? We want to pass on our genes. We want to marry a lot of beautiful women who are young, and so they can give us a lot of babies because we want to pass on our genes. And we want to maintain our status. All we care about is power. Fundamentally, we humans are fundamentally imagination. And we care about three things. The first is we want to express our religion through art, music, and rituals. We want to know where we came from, why we're here, where we're going. Okay? That's who we really are. That's the first thing. Second thing is we are diverse and want to differentiate ourselves. Okay? We want to stand out. We want to be different. We want to be creative. The third thing is we are curious and want to explore. And that's what explains why we go everywhere. Okay? This has been true throughout human history. We may not have documents saying that we were traveling, but we were traveling because there's always some of us who want to go and see a new world, even though it may not exist. That's who we are fundamentally. So don't believe people when they say, oh, okay, you just care about money, you just care about power, you just care about sex. That's not who we are. What we are fundamentally religious, spiritual beings that want to create and to love and to connect. Okay, that's the first myth. Second myth is the most natural unit is a family, and men want to protect their property, which includes women, okay? So maybe you've been taught that, okay, men are in charge and women are just animals to breed babies. Okay, that's not true. For most of human history, it was women who had control of their bodies. Women could choose who to sleep with and how many men to sleep with, and they often chose to sleep with everyone. Why? Because sleeping with other men, first of all, women enjoy it, okay? But second of all, it allows women to create social cohesion. So for most of human history, early civilizations, women were the core and center of all societies. And the third thing is, there's actually a strategy in sleeping with many different men because now everyone is responsible for raising a child. Does that make sense? If I'm the father and I know exactly who my children are, then I'm going to protect my children and discard everyone else, okay? But if no one knows who the fathers are, everyone's responsible for taking care of every single child. And that's the best strategy that they can have, okay? Because that ensures that every child becomes successful. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so the second myth that we will discuss later on. Third myth. Humans follow the iron rule of nature, survival of the fittest. Okay, that's what you're taught by Darwin. That's what evolution is. But that's wrong. Okay? Throughout most of human history, humans cared for each other. We were compassionate. Empathy, right? We believe that every creature has divinity, and those who are weakest have the most divinity. That's why when we kill an animal, we still thank the animal. Because we're all part of the same life cycle. Alright? Number 4, humans have gotten smarter over the centuries. Civilization is far superior to primitive cultures. Again, this is wrong. Okay? The truth is that with the development of civilization, the human imagination has decreased. Our brains can be supercomputers if we allow them to be. Primitive people are more creative, which means they have better memories than we do, okay? They're able to recall more stuff. They're able to store more information. They're more sensitive perception. They have more empathy, okay? They know exactly how you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and how to make you feel better. And greater emotional resilience, okay? So they're much more mature than we are. Okay. Number 5, we evolved from apes. The truth is that we are uniquely imaginative and we can choose our own evolution. Don't believe we're apes, okay? If you believe you're an ape, then you're an ape, okay? If you're an ape, then you like to go beat people up and like have sex with like a lot of women, okay? But we're not apes. We're imaginative first and foremost, and as such, we have control over our lives. And that's something that you have to like learn for yourself. All right, so let me give an example of this to conclude the class. This is Romito 2, and we discovered him 10,000 years ago in a burial site, okay? This is an Ice Age burial site. He's a dwarf, guys, okay? He's a dwarf. You can see how small he is. He's a dwarf. And you would think that dwarfs don't really contribute to the community, so maybe he's born, it's clear he's deformed, so just kill the guy, okay? Because he's not going to have a great life anyway. Instead, what we found is, first of all, he lived to a pretty old age, and he was buried with jewelry. He was buried elaborately, and you only do that for people you really prize. That's kind of strange, right? The people who we think that are most worthless, dwarfs that actually don't do anything, they actually thought was divine and deserved a extremely elaborate, ritualized funeral. Why? Okay, so this is a book, The Dawn of Everything by David Graeber and David Wengrow. Great book, okay? So what they say is this: when archaeologists undertake balanced appraisals of hunter-gatherer burials from the Paleolithic, they find high frequencies of health-related disabilities, but also surprisingly high levels of care until the time of death and beyond, since some of these funerals were remarkably lavish. This is an amazing idea to think about. But if you were deformed, if you were ill, they didn't throw you out. They spent a lot of time to take care of you, even though from their perspective, it was a waste of time and energy, because you're going to die anyway. So why would they do that? Well, there are three possibilities, okay? The first possibility is it's really about maintaining cosmic balance and harmony. Everything is a cycle. Meaning what? Meaning we're all part of God. And if you suffer, then we have to make you better, because we're all part of God together. Okay? So the concepts are unity of all, as above, so below. Set a good example to others. Okay, so that's the first possibility. Second possibility is, because this is a pre-literate society, people have a stronger sense of empathy and morality. So they didn't want to see others suffer. Okay? And the third possibility is, they appreciate diversity and difference in a way we don't anymore. Okay? Our entire school system is designed as survival of the fittest. If you can't do math, goodbye, you're worthless. If you can't get 100 on a test, goodbye, you're worthless, okay? But back then, they saw difference and diversity as gifts from God, right? So if you're a dwarf, it meant you had something special to offer. If you're strong, yeah, you can go hunt animals and you can protect the family. But if you're a dwarf, it meant that you might have something else to offer. And if we just celebrate you as someone who has something special to offer, then you can offer it to us, okay? And often, what they could do is, well, they could probably sing better, they could probably tell better stories, they had more wisdom, they had more intuition, the connection with the divine, okay? And that's true even today, where the best storytellers, the best musicians are often those who are marginalized from society, those who are strangers, those who are outsiders, those who society persecutes. They probably have greater imagination, greater intuition, greater empathy. And today, we don't celebrate these things, but back then, they did celebrate those things. So if you were different, if you were deformed, if you were ill, they saw you as blessed rather than cursed. And that's what we've forgotten today. Okay? All right, so that's it. This is just an introduction into the entirety of human history, okay? We're going to go pretty fast. Any questions?